Adolf Hitler's Foreign Affairs Minister, Joachim von Ribbentrop, wrote the letter in January 1946, 9 months before his execution. In it, he recalled a meeting 10 years earlier with then King Edward VIII, where they agreed to work towards the closest possible relationship between England and Nazi Germany. The letter, which was written on behalf of von Ribbentrop by his legal team, was up for auction in November at International Autograph Auctions of Malaga, Spain. It was kept by Dr. Hans Werner, the man responsible for directing the printing of the record of the trial of major war criminals in 42 volumes. Crucially, according to an expert, the letter suggests that there was more than meets the eye when it came to Edward's Nazi connections and relationship with Ribbentrop. The letter is nothing short of a bombshell, containing alleged evidence that King Edward VIII himself desired to forge a close alliance with the Nazis. It reads, when presenting his credentials in 1936, von Ribbentrop expressed to the then King Edward VIII the desire of the Reich Chancellor, Hitler, for the closest cooperation between Germany and England. In the course of this audience, King Edward VIII declared that he, too, deemed such a cooperation necessary. Edward VIII has long been suspected of being Nazi sympathizer, and historian and author Andrew Loney argues that this letter points to a close relationship between Ribbentrop, the former king, and his wife Wallis Simpson. Speaking exclusively to Express.co.uk, he said, Ribbentrop always felt he could call on them, Edward and Wallis Simpson, noting the Nazis' particularly close relationship with the Duchess of Windsor. Mr. Loney, who wrote Traitor King, The Scandalous Exile of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, claimed that Ribbentrop supposedly had an affair with Wallis, having been sent as the foreign minister, as sort of the ambassador in London, in 1936. He was certainly friends with Wallis, he added, before explaining it was through the American socialite and Ribbentrop that the Nazis planned to target the new king. The author continued, they knew they were pushing an open door because Edward believed in the Führer principle and was very sympathetic. He'd already been lobbied by his cousin, the Duke of Saxe-Coburg, who was a very active Nazi at the funeral of George V on January 1936, and in March, he tried to play down the remilitarization of the Rhineland. The Ribbentrop accusations continued throughout the rest of Edward and Wallis' lives. As Mr. Loney noted, when they went to the Bahamas, when he, Edward, was made governor there to get out of Europe where he was colluding with the Nazis, there were accusations that they had a picture of Ribbentrop in the bathroom, and there are FBI files revealing the links to Ribbentrop, so I think there's more to it than meets the eye. While the historian argues that Ribbentrop absolutely had reasonability to ask for the royals' help, Richard Davey, a specialist at the International Autograph Auctions of Malaga, suggests von Ribbentrop was acting desperately and must have been deluded to ask the Duke of Windsor to appear at his trial. He said, King Edward VIII's beliefs regarding Adolf Hitler and the Nazis have long been the subject of speculation. Many historians have suggested that Hitler was prepared to reinstate the Duke of Windsor as king in the hope of establishing a fascist puppet government in Great Britain after Operation Say.